What's going on, boys? It's me, Daily Thoughts here, back with another video. Now, today's video topic is going to be on TikTok and the potential banning of the app in the United States, as well as other Western countries. Now, other Western countries have been talking about banning this from the past few weeks, and the United States recently hopped on this train. The company TikTok, of course, is Chinese owned, and the Chinese government has a lot of say in what businesses do in their country, and therefore there's been a lot of speculation that TikTok has been spying on Western nations. Now, this honestly makes sense. Of course, every nation spies on every other nation, and there are different ways of going about doing this, whether it's planting, spies on, inside enemy nations a la James Bond, except, of course, a lot less cool, but more of a sort of, put this guy in this position and he'll slowly collect data on our enemy nations, or even friendly nations. I mean, the US spies on the UK and things like that, and the UK spies on the US. It just happens. Most of it is very mundane stuff. It could be agriculture data, or it could be, weapons data as well, which is, of course, more valuable. In the form of China spying on the US and other Western nations through TikTok, it is more of data collection of citizens in these countries. Why would China want data collection on these citizens? Well, it's pretty obvious. China plays a big part in Western markets because they supply a lot of the labor that goes into building Western products. This labor is, of course, often very, very cruel, next to slave labor through their sweatshops and crippling caste system. However, this video is not about that, but it's supposed to focus more on TikTok, the app itself. So I have a Newsweek article here that goes a bit more in depth. It starts by saying, speculation about an imminent ban on the short video app TikTok has surged this week as users turn to the internet for answers. Analytics from Google Trends indicate that searches for a variety of questions about the app have spiked over the past 24 hours, with people asking if the Chinese-owned platform will be banned, deleted, or shut in the US in the coming days. Rumors about enforcement by Trump administration have swirled on social media, including TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter after U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo claimed officials were looking at the risk to national security. Yesterday, President Donald Trump confirmed Pompeo's statement was accurate, saying in an interview with Gray Television, "It's something we're looking at. It's a big business. Look, what happened with China with the virus, what they've done to this country and the entire world is disgraceful," Trump went on to say. Bloomberg reported indicating the action would be retaliation for the COVID-19 pandemic. This part is kind of interesting to me because it seems like more of an excuse to shut down the app than an actual retaliation. I mean, I think racism against Chinese people and things like that is disgusting, especially when it comes to people calling out Asian people for starting the virus. That's just wrong. It's sickening, truly. Where the fault really lies is probably in the Chinese government not being able to act quick enough and ignoring the problem when it first started to appear in their own state. But it certainly should not be on any kind of Asian person or Chinese person. They are, of course, all innocent in this matter, and it is gross to see people doing that. Really, really deplorable actions. However, this retaliation would make sense if it is, in fact, for a retaliatory measure, because obviously TikTok doesn't really affect the common Chinese person. It rather would affect the Chinese government and, of course, corporations over in China. But what I'm saying is it seems weird that this would be a reaction to the COVID-19 pandemic because it's happening so late into the pandemic and so much after the initial causation. So it seems to me more like an excuse to delete the app rather than an actual retaliatory action. Perhaps there are more underlying things that are going on about the Chinese government and their sort of media takeover in the United States that we are not really allowed to know as the public. One thing that's been brought up many times I've seen in other people's videos is the fact that TikTokers and a lot of sort of Zoomers and Gen Z people bought a lot of tickets and reserved a lot of tickets for the Trump rally where no one showed up in the crowd. People are saying that Trump's ego was sort of bruised by that, as there's a famous video of him walking off of a plane looking very disheveled after the rally, looking just straight up depressed, to be honest. And so people are saying this is a bit of a retaliation against those people on TikTok for doing that. And I mean, to that, maybe. That was like a few weeks ago, so I feel like if this were to be brought up, it would have been a few weeks ago. So what I really think this could be is either sanctions against China for something that we are not privy to, or perhaps it is some sort of a retaliation for China basically stealing US data and things like that and trying to come into our market in this sort of deceitful way. But again, I really don't know, and I just want to say that I try not to get too super political on this. You know, when it comes to like actual politics, I prefer to go more into like the meme world and gaming news and things along those lines that might not necessarily involve direct politics. But when it comes to TikTok being shut down, I felt like this was worth giving my opinion on and worth talking about because it's pretty big. I mean, TikTok has grown into an immense platform, and just wiping it out of the Western world would certainly have some pretty dramatic effects. You would have all of these displaced content creators essentially not having a place to go, much like what happened when Vine was shut down. So you'd probably see a lot of TikTokers coming over to YouTube, Instagram, maybe Twitter, although that's not really a great platform for it, and creating their videos there. It would open up a lot of room for American companies in that same market. And I know Vine recently actually relaunched. However, I think it was pretty unsuccessful relaunch of Vine by Twitter, I believe, who is owning it right now. So maybe we would be seeing a return to Vine in the place of TikTok in this market. Or perhaps there would be an entirely new app developed. That's the thing, is in terms of short videos, TikTok sort of has a monopoly on the whole sphere right now, and it is an incredibly growing platform for that. So whoever manages to sort of innovate the sphere next after TikTok is potentially gone, if this ban does end up happening, then they could gain a lot of money and a lot of followers very, very fast. So I'm sure there's a lot of US companies right now who are scrambling to get sort of the same technology that TikTok has going on their own platforms, or they're looking to build their own platform similar to TikTok right now. In addition to this, there would almost be a void of advertisements when TikTok is gone, because so many advertisers advertise on TikTok, and therefore they might surge their ad rates in other areas like YouTube or Instagram once again, which would boost the income and CPM on those various other platforms. So in all honesty, TikTok going away could boost a lot of American and Western companies like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc., etc. So the deletion of TikTok could be pretty good for the American market space, if we're being completely honest here. Now, in terms of a consumer viewpoint, which I don't see a lot of people talking about, I think this would be rather detrimental. I mean, TikTok is a good place for young people to be creative. I mean, a lot of it's cringe. Yeah, there's a lot of cringe on there. But at the end of the day, it is a fun outlet for people, especially during quarantine, to sort of exercise their creativity and start a following and perhaps learn a lot of things about the real world in this online setting. So I think partially it would be a bit of a loss for the online community, even if you do perceive it as cringe. But at the same time, again, another company will just come around and develop the next software or the next thing that will replace TikTok. And if we're being completely honest, TikTok might die out on its own in a few years. I mean, look at Twitter, look at Snapchat, look at Instagram. All of them sort of had their heydays in the past where they were booming online in terms of users. And nowadays, I mean, they still have pretty consistent users and followings and things like that, but they're not nearly what they were when everything was sort of blowing up. So I'm sure TikTok might be getting exponential growth right now, but it could level off or even dip in the future when newer apps come out that do things better or differently. So yeah, this was a pretty broad video on the whole specter. I just wanted to give my opinion on sort of TikTok, the app itself, and what's going on and some causes behind this. We covered a lot of sort of different things in this video, so it's not very stapled down. I probably should have written a script for this one, but I prefer to freeball it. I think it's more fun and more genuine. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about TikTok potentially being banned in Western countries. Are you for it? Are you against it? What do you think, boys? Give me some more topics if you guys have anything interesting that you want me to cover. I saw a few things that people were interested in me covering. However, some of them I feel like have been covered enough, and some were sort of out of my sphere of expertise. There was some stuff about like potential civil wars in various countries, fighting for their rights and freedoms and things like that, which I fully support. Countries becoming democratic and overthrowing fascist and authoritarian regimes. However, I feel like that's sort of out of my sphere of knowledge, and it's just a little too grown up for me. I don't want to give my opinion on a very complex system of events that is happening that I have a very, very basic, if no understanding of. So I want to stay away from those things, though I do, my heart does go out to those people out there having to deal with that kind of a thing. But if you got any good meme stuff, send it my way. All right, guys, be sure to like the video, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.